Welcome back to today's show. We have another great guest with us, and Mr. Guy Noland. We were able to get him in. I know we're at the NRB and different places, and we just missed him, but we're glad to have had him on the radio station this morning, and now we have him here. How you doing, Guy?
I'm excellent. Thank you so much.
We're excited to have you. You were a great guest. I told you that before on our interview. So
Thanks.
we're great. You're amazing, and we want to talk a little bit about the SAVN.TV network. Can you give us some insight? What's that all about?
Well, Saving TV is a new initiative by the Salvation Army Western Territory that is really focused on bringing evangelism and the work of the Salvation Army to the masses through multimedia and through the internet. We started, as I told you before, the Salvation Army is a church that started out as a movement to help people, to pull people up out of the dregs of society. The founder, William Booth, back in 1865, saw the need of suffering humanity, and he turned to his son Bramwell and he said, "Do something. Just do something." And so, they understood that if somebody's too tired, too hungry, too addicted, too cold, that they won't be open to receiving the gospel. And you have to address those needs first. You have to address, you got to get them fed, you got to get them clothed, you got to get a roof over the head, and you got to get them sober, and then they'll be willing to accept the gospel. And so that's how it started, and that's kind of what we do as an army and as a church, is we try and help people, and then we deliver the gospel message, because people always say, well, why do you do that? Why do you guys do this? Why do you help people? And that gives us a great opportunity to witness. So all we're doing with Saving TV is we're taking that to the next step. We're taking that to cyberspace. And we're taking all of the stuff that the Salvation Army does and the work that we do, and we're telling our story, and then encouraging people to share those stories within their social networking circles, and then hopefully get involved. They're going to want to get involved and do something themselves, especially with this new generation. These millennials are really about rolling up their sleeves and getting involved.
Amen. You shared something to me. You're making a virtual street corner. So tell us about the street corner and the importance of it, and then now that we're online.
Well, the street corner, and most people know the Salvation Army as being, their open airs and their brass bands, and that's a real big thing with the Salvation Army and our brand. And the way that started was, again, William Booth back in the 19th century had figured out that people, to go where people congregate is the important thing. And back then, people congregated on street corners. They didn't have internet, they didn't have electricity, they didn't have TV, they didn't have all these stuff. So what they did for entertainment was they'd all go out to the street and they'd congregate with their friends and they'd drink and they'd talk and they'd tell stories. And so William Booth knew that, hey, if that's where the people are, then that's where we got to go. And at the time, the Church of England had kind of instituted this, what they called kind of a pew tax, which was kind of their way of enforcing tithing. Well, that's great if you want to, if you have to pay for your seat. Well, then where are the poor people going to go to church if they can't afford a seat in church? So William Booth didn't like this, and he was a Methodist minister, and he says, well, if they can't come into the church, then I'm going to bring the church to them. And that was what began, he began what was called the Church of the Open Air, where he'd bring the church out to the street corner. And they took the brass bands, which were the rock bands of the time, and they took the old pub songs and they put Christian lyrics to them. And people from blocks away would hear these familiar tunes and from these brass bands, and so they follow it and they congregate around it and they deliver the gospel message. Well, that's what worked back in Victorian England. That doesn't really necessarily work these days. That's not to say that our brass bands are obsolete. They're still a big part of our rich culture, but today we have to start looking at where the people are, where are they congregating, what are the street corners of today, and that's the internet. That's where people are congregating today. They're congregating on the internet, and we're calling it the new cyber street corner. And if that's where the people are, then that's where we have to go to deliver the gospel message.
Amen. Amen. And with this new site and stuff, how long has it been up already running?
We launched it back in June, and we were in our beta phase for a good 6 to 8 months, and then just recently came out of our beta phase. So now we're just starting to try and get the word out that we're here. and and let people know that, I mean, look, David, we know that people probably aren't going to hit their knees in front of their computer. The most important thing is personal contact. Everybody who's wound up getting saved has been saved through somebody they know, whether it's their parent or a friend or something like that. And so we really want to encourage people to use the media to get involved and to share with their friends and get their friends to get involved and physically involved. And then once they're physically involved, then the gospel message will be delivered. And that's our hope, is find as many people as we can. And like I said, this new generation coming up, they're really a hands-on kind of a generation, and they want to get involved. We just want to present that opportunity for people to get involved in a cause.
Amen. Now, you mentioned Get Involved. Now, there's a unique feature on your site about Get Involved button. Tell us about the Get Involved button.
Yeah, we've got the Get Involved button. If you go to our site, what you'll see a lot of videos with a lot of causes. And most people, they know the Salvation Army for disaster relief, but they don't really understand that we've got so many. We have literally thousands of causes and things that we do to help people. I often say it would be so nice if we were like the Red Cross and all we had to do was worry about disaster relief. That would make our lives so much easier. But we've become all things to all men, which can be a good thing and can be a bad thing. But we've got human trafficking issues that we deal with. We've got addiction recovery, disaster relief, homelessness, overseas child adoption, orphanages. We've got foster care. We've got schools for the blind. We've got fair trade coffee, clean water initiatives. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And so what we're trying to do with Saving is tell all of these stories. And so in short clips showing all of the initiatives and things that we're doing in the Salvation Army so that people can go and they can find a cause that they really believe in and champion that cause. One thing that we understood that when we were going into this, in creating this site, and the importance of it, of having to get online, because in 20, 30 years, our generation who was raised on TV is going to be dying off. And the generation that's coming up behind us is raised online, and they're on the internet. So we have to have a presence. We have to have a presence on the internet if we're going to be effective in 20 to 30 years. And that's what we have to start that now. So the point being is that we're trying to get people to find these causes, and we understand that whether you're saved or not, people want to help people. Amen. They want to do good, and especially this generation coming up. They really want to do the most good. They want to help other people, whether they're saved or not. And so we're encouraging them to find a cause that they really believe in and championing that cause in their social networking circles. And if you're a believer, it's a great opportunity for kind of a covert evangelism. Is you find that cause that you think and you share it with your friends, and if they're not saved, they get involved in that cause. And on each of those videos is a Get Involved button. And you press that button no matter where they are on YouTube or Facebook or whatever, and that will bring up a window that gives them every link to that cause that they can get involved in, and a Google map pops up that shows everywhere in their area that they can go and they can physically get involved in that cause by volunteering and other means.
That's amazing. So you can actually make your own personal mission field by just going to your videos, seeing a need, and getting involved in that need. And
that's exactly right.
And if you have someone that may be struggling, you can send them a link or send them the information so they can get some help.
That's right. So if you know somebody, say, that's struggling with addiction, and you send them a video that talks about addiction, which we have, and if they've hit their bottom and they're needing help, they can hit that Get Involved button. It'll bring up every AA meeting or Salvation Army Recovery House or whatever in their area, so they can go and they can get help immediately. And then the other thing is if you create a profile page on the site, you can track your impact on your profile page. You can watch how many people have watched that video because you shared, how many people have donated to that cause because of your share, and you can really track your evangelism. The next phase of our build out, we're going to be beefing that up quite a bit. But as of right now, you can go and you can upload, pick your favorite videos, share them, and track how many people are watching them and what your impact is in your social networking sphere.
Amen. That's amazing, my brother. We're just about out of time. I want you to tell everybody how they can get a hold of you.
If you go to our website, it's www.savin.tv. That's SAVN.tv. Take a look around and share some videos with your friends. Sign up a profile page and stick with us. And we're going to be growing. We're going to be getting a lot bigger and a lot more beefy in our web presence. So we want as many people to come and check us out as possible. www.savn.tv.
I told you this on the radio show earlier, and that is that you're doing three things. You're making people aware, you're creating a place for people to get involved, and then you're offering help to people that are hiding, you're not hiding, but just behind their computers that may not go out in the street to get some help. So
Yes, sir.
you're able to reach people that you may never see until you get to heaven, brother. That's awesome. That's awesome. Now, Guy, just real short, tell them how you're a fifth generational salvationist.
Yeah, that's right, David. I am, like I said, the Salvation Army's been around for a long time, and my great-great-grandparents were Salvation Army ministers, Salvation Army officers, which are ministers in the Salvation Army, ordained ministers in the Salvation Army. So I come from a long line of Salvationists, and in fact, my grandmother remembered as a young girl watching William Booth's funeral procession through the streets of London, which was back, around the turn of the century. So yeah, we've and I'm not the only one. There's a lot of Salvationists, multi-generational Salvationists. But on my father's side, my father was his first generation, and we want to create some new first generation Salvationists.
Amen.
We want to grow our ranks.
Amen. Thank you again so much for joining us, brother.
All right, thanks, David.
God bless. Bye-bye.
All right, you too.